Word coming down. America is watching ABC. Keep on living. Ooh, and we'll keep on giving. You're a part of us, America. America's watching ABC.
More cool TV.
On ABC. And America is watching ABC.
This fall.
Come with me to a place.
You'll be glad that you did.
Get free.
With so much more, oh what a store where Toys R Us kids. It's a magical land, so where else would you go? When everything's at Toys R Us and prices are low.
If it's new and hot,
It's a toy they've got.
And the prices are hard to beat.
You can search the whole world for Toys R Us kids know. It's the one and only place to go.
more games, more toys. Oh, fun!
It's the world's biggest place.
To the thousands of special effects already found on Sega Genesis, we add one more. The Sonic Boom. Sonic the Hedgehog, now included when you buy a Genesis system.
Loop to loop without hurting my knees. And now it's time for chocolate.
I love, really wanna have a Hershey's Breeze. Now I'm talking chocolate.
When the slime geyser erupts, it's time for news you can use from Nick. Monday morning. Yeah, date 9/9/1991. It's a day to fill your brain at school and get moronic after school. Moronic, that is, with more Looney Tunes than you can shake a stick at. Whatever that means. Actually, it means 5 hours of Bugs, Daffy, Porky, Yosemite Sam, and the rest of them after school today.
Is Snake Mountain ready to take on He-Man?
Snake Mountain, Battle Armor, He-Man, and Skeletor each sold separately. You put the mountain together. Batteries not included.
Is your serpent ready to strike? Yes. Come, He-Man. Come to Snake Mountain. If you dare.
Snake Mountain with Echo Microphone, new from the Masters of the Universe collection. Action figures each sold separately. From Mattel.
And you'll be with Bo Jackson, Wayne Gretzky, and Michael Jordan, the Pro Stars.
Oh no, it's cartoon.
Be with movie superstar Macaulay Culkin as Wish Kid, Yogi Bear and his all-new Yo Yogi cartoons, and the coolest cats in a litter box from beyond. Saturday mornings this fall, if you want to be with the best cartoons, just say, I want to be on
NBC.
It seems Wendell has eaten Cinnamon Toast Crunch supplies everywhere.
Except here, the Cinnamon Toast Crunch Warehouse.
Irresistible!
Hurry!
I gotta have that blast of cinnamon and sugar.
You just can't resist Cinnamon Toast Crunch, can you?
The crunchy part of this complete breakfast.
See, Wendell? There's enough for everybody.
Even me.
Go.
I know a boy, his name is Zach. He loves to fit, he loves to stack. Yes, construction is his knack. He's Zach, the Lego maniac. He builds in the window, he's off the wall. He builds them big, he builds them small. In Legoland, he'll rock and roll. He's Lego wild, out of control. Zach, he's a Lego maniac. Zach,
Legoland, King's Castle, Airport, Cosmic Fleet Voyager, sold separately from Legos.
Introducing the next generation from Nintendo. New Super Mario World. Created especially for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. It's a bit more exciting, a bit more challenging, a bit more graphic, a bit more colorful, a bit more realistic, a bit more levels, a bit more secrets, a bit more enemies, a bit more friends, a bit more sound, a bit hotter, a bit cooler, a bit weird, a bit more revolutionary, a bit more Mario, a bit more of what you want. It's 16-bit, and it's yours only if you get new Super Nintendo. Now you're playing with power, superpower.
I'm Hulk Hogan, star of Suburban Commando. This year, when Nick takes over your school, I'll be leading the pack. Stay tuned for more details only on Nickelodeon.
Half human, half animal. Thunder, 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 thunder.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome to another episode of We Grew Up Better. I'm your co-host, COOLTOY, aka Doug Smith, because that's my actual name. People call me COOLTOY all the time. That's the name of the channel, not the name on my driver's license. With me, as always, is Adam and Jordan, the fine folks over at Complete Geek TV. Gentlemen, how are you?
We're good. How are you, COOLTOY?
Right out of the gate, he got me. Good job, good job. Anyways, tonight's topic, we're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Are you guys familiar with these guys?
I've heard of them.
I've heard of the Turtles before. You know,
I know they're not as popular worldwide as things like I don't know, Biker Mice from Mars, or Cowboys of Moo Mesa, things like that. That really took the world by storm. Turtles, they had their moment in the sun. A lot of people just say it was a flash in the pan, a quick passing fad in the night.
Yeah, for sure. So they're
you totally agree, right?
Yeah. Are they 13? Is that correct?
Well, they would
Something
have to
like
be.
that.
They have to be at least 13.
Yeah.
13 and between 13 and 19, they had to be somewhere in there because they were teenagers.
Obviously, a big part of our childhood, and
I think
now. So
I was about to say, I feel like I never really grew out of the turtle fandom.
No.
Yeah, I don't know, because over the last year or so, we've focused a lot on doing videos on our channel about more testing things.
Mm-hmm.
But for a while, we did a lot of reviews on Turtles toys, and I mean, we might still have more Turtles related videos than anything else if you were to add up the number of videos of one subject on our channel. So
you said that almost like that's a negative thing.
Yeah. No, I was going along with the joke. So we've heard of them.
Yeah. Well, sweet, because we're going to talk about our childhoods, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. For anybody that grew up in the 80s and 90s specifically, Turtles, whether you wanted it to be or not, was going to be a large part of your childhood, because it literally just absolutely took the nation over 100%. In fact, let me see if I can pull this up. I'm trying to find, I don't know. Here we go. This is labeled incorrectly, but I'll show you the beginnings of early Doug as a turtle nerd.
I love it.
So here's
Yep.
I want to say this is 6-year-old me, going off the time and everything of Halloween. I remember being very distraught that this was a Leonardo costume.
That's great.
Because I'm a Donatello guy, but Leonardo was apparently all that was available. And hopefully everybody on this chat and on this stream can remember the awfulness that was the early 70s, 80s, and some of the 90s Halloween costumes, where it was essentially a sauna trash bag.
It's a trash bag.
Then you got the little plastic mask with a rubber string, and that was the extent of it or whatever. So basically you walked around sweating to death while you're trying to load up a pillowcase of candy around the neighborhood. But and also got to show the second one. Props to my mom for making me stare directly at the sun while she takes this
fantastic
picture. But one thing I noticed in this image that I was absolutely psyched to see was let me zoom in here. So in that image, I had a wristwatch on my wrist, and my mom recently just found this wristwatch all tucked away in a drawer. So this is the same one that I was wearing in that as a 6-year-old child. Used to have my name on it where it said Doug. Now it just says Doe. Time, the passage of time and whatnot. But I was pretty excited. I was like, hey, I just got this watch back a couple weeks ago, and lo and behold, and then I dug these pictures up, and lo and behold, there's me wearing that Donatello watch. So we did a poll at the beginning, said asking everybody who their favorite turtle was. As expected, it was pretty split down, relatively evenly across the board, because everybody, identifies and recognizes with a different turtle for whatever reason. I myself always recognize or identified with Donatello. What about you guys?
Well, I'm going to come clean here. I threw in 2 votes today for Leonardo.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there in case I rigged the voting system, but I did, guys. I put in 2 votes for it. No, but I don't know why. I think I really liked Leonardo because 1, blue's my favorite color, so that was that. But I also liked his weapons the best.
Yeah.
So that was 2 big factors there. But yeah,
I always liked Michelangelo.
Yeah.
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 I can't explain it. Why? I can't explain why.
Exactly. Oh, it wasn't like the party dude atmosphere, or
maybe. I mean, maybe. I mean, I always I mean, I've always been a very like
Orange is your favorite fruit.
hyper. Yeah.
No,
No,
just
just
kidding.
no.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, I've always been a very hyper kid that like, let's go have fun and do something crazy. So maybe I just kind of,
It just,
I guess.
it something connects with you. It identifies with you.
Yeah.
So you guys mentioned you've made a lot of turtle content on the channel. Obviously, probably a safe assumption to say you guys collect various turtle items, memorabilia. Is there anything that like stands out in your collection as something that's like, I can't believe I have this, or it took me years to track this down? Anything like that?
No, I mean, and I have to really thank my parents for this, but I'm trying to keep this story short, but my dad, he had all the original Marvel comics, like literally all of them. And my grandparents one day were like, no, we got to get these out of the house, and just took all of his, they were all in the plastic seal, took all of his, original Avengers. He had the 1 through 100 on everything you can think of, put them in a garage sale, sold them. And that it's not like he just tries to talk bad about his parents, but I mean, obviously that was something that kind of devastated him. They just threw him in a garage sale and how much those would have been worth. And so like my mom was aware of this, of course. So she like took all of our stuff and like put it in a box, like took our Transformers, put the actual character model with all the right guns, and then, put them in the Ziploc bag. So thank goodness I still have all my original turtle stuff, the sewer, the blimp.
A+ effort for mom,
yes,
going full on Smithsonian with her, cataloging and, because the accessories, that's always like the first thing that disappeared for toys and everything.
Yeah. So that was,
I don't remember any specific ones as a kid. Like anything that like stands out as like being my favorite or anything. Like I had plenty of Turtles toys, but yeah, when we were working on the intro video and Adam went back to his mom's house and got all those stuff. I mean, it was like, I feel like it was every 2 seconds I was digging through, and like it was a lot of the Turtles toys. I was like, I had this one too. Like it just.
Are they gone as far as you're aware?
My mom says she's kept a lot of my toys, so they're probably somewhere, but I don't know where they are.
So you're saying there's still a chance.
Yeah.
There's hope. Maybe covered with rat poop or whatever, hidden away in the basement or the attic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when you just get, was it the Rat Master action figure, and you just have him, work his menacing ways. And
exactly.
But yeah, mine was always the Technodrome. That was something I made a video on not too long ago on the channel, where I found an inbox Technodrome and basically brought that back in my collection. Had it growing up as a child, played with it literally until it disintegrated and there was nothing left. I remember playing wiffle ball with the eye of the Technodrome because we were in a pinch and we didn't have a wiffle ball, and I was like, man, this game's got to go. We got to keep this party rolling. So we ended up playing wiffle ball with the Technodrome eyeball, and
that's awesome.
2020, and adult me just wants to punch myself in the stomach. Go
such a Sandlot story.
Yeah, Back to the Future,
awesome.
punch myself in the stomach for that type of thing. But other than that, I've met Kevin Eastman a couple times, and I've actually been fortunate enough to have him sign some of my video games. So
yes,
he signed this, and while he was at it, he went ahead and, without me even asking or paying for it, signed the game and drew a little turtle on there. So that is one of my pride and joy pieces for sure.
Can I just say, I was actually I just saw a comment. Mace Windu says, which turtle you like is basically the definitive Myers-Briggs personality test for people born in the 80s. It's crazy that he just said that, because when you brought up, oh, you like the party guy, like, and all that, like, I've taken Myers-Briggs tests, and there's also like temperament tests, and I'm ENFP, and I'm a sanguine as my like born temperament, which is very similar. So I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Just thought I'd throw that out there. I saw that, I was like, okay, I was gonna actually mention that, but I was like, I'm not gonna go real and technical and weird with everyone here. But since he brought it up, I was like, okay, yeah, no, we'll go with that. Because I was gonna say it, but he said it for me. So thank you.
I mean, there's definitely something to it, because each turtle has their own, unique personality. So there's something out there, whether it be, a personalized marketing decision later on or what have you. The comics itself is where Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, started from. Let's go ahead and check that out. So if you weren't familiar, I mean, you should be. I mean, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles started as a comic 1984. Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird started it kind of as a goofy joke. One of them was just jokingly writing on a napkin, drawing this Ninja Turtle with nunchucks. And he's like, that's funny. He's a ninja, and, turtles are slow, yada, yada, yada. And that's kind of where that sprung from. And they said, hey, maybe there's something here. And they kind of fleshed out a story. Originally, the comic was only supposed to be a single issue, one-off. It wasn't supposed to be a series, but it got pretty popular pretty quick, which was good for them because they self-financed it, started their own comic publishing company called Mirage Studios. Basically, they got their end of the year check, so to speak, and I think somebody got a loan from their parents. I want to say it was Kevin Eastman got a loan from a family member, and they started the comics. They printed less than 4,000 of the first issue. It was all black and white, as you can see, an all black cover. So not a lot of good quality examples survived over the years because, number one, it was independently published. It was black and white. It was an unheard of franchise, so it had a lot of things going against it. But Mirage Comics lasted from 1984 to 2014. So, not too bad for a kind of fly-by-night, seat-of-the-pants thing. And, gentlemen, a relatively perfect copy of this sold. Highest grade was a CGC 9.8 back in 2021. Either one of you want to hazard a guess? Yeah, hazard a guess on how much it went for?
All right, I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess 500,000.
500,000. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe that's really extreme, or maybe way under.
I mean, with how many you said were made and they're not in good condition anymore.
Yeah, because the problem with comic gradings is especially with an all black cover like there, they show like nicks and scratches or whatever, so they're not going to get that perfect grade very easily.
Don't overthink it.
What are you thinking, Jordan?
I'm going to say.
Can we get back to you?
720,000. I'm gonna go
720,000. So it actually sold for 245,000. So you guys are both a little high. However, with as crazy as the collectibles market has been in the last year alone, specifically with COVID and everything, if this resold today, I would not be surprised if that 245 was closer to that 500 number.
That's what I said. I said if it resold. I don't know if you guys heard that.
But
yeah.
But like I said, started out as a one-shot, and then it continued on, and it slowly evolved into color. If you weren't familiar with the earlier Mirage comic stuff, as you'll notice with the cover, the turtles are all, wearing red bandanas. They didn't really have their unique personality, so to speak, that unique color characteristic until later on. And they did go into other comics and other publishing brands. Archie Comics started publishing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures that ran from 1988 to 1995 for 100, I think, some odd issues. Maybe, I can't remember exactly. But this was something, if you were a Saturday morning cartoon aficionado and you were used to watching those turtle cartoons, this was going to be a little more right up your alley, what you were expecting your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle attitudes to be. Whereas the Mirage comics were a lot more adult, a lot more gritty. The Archie comics, as one can expect with it being associated with Archie, a little more family friendly, a little more just people pleasing for those kids out there that have just jumped on the bandwagon. And then after that came the IDW comic series that is now continuing on from 2009 to current. So it went back and forth between being a tip of the cap to the Mirage comics to a flat out continuation. So it's done a little everything. The most recent storyline has been The Last Ronin, where there's literally only one surviving turtle left, and that's kind of been the most recent comic storyline out there to date. So either one of you guys a turtle comic reader? Any of those? Mirage, the
I did not read any turtle comics. No, I watched the show as a kid. I loved the show. Like you said, like Saturday morning cartoons. Like you just you hoped you got to see a Turtles episode if you could wake up for Saturday morning cartoons. I was not an early bird, so
I honestly
that happened.
I honestly didn't really learn a lot about that until the Netflix show. If you know what I'm talking about,
the Toys That Made Us.
Yes, that kind of goes in that history, which is awesome if you guys have not seen it. But I've not seen much on it.
That's amazing. Robert says the comic store guy gave me for free issues 1 and 2, which it sounds crazy now, but in the time, it makes perfect sense because it's, like I said, independently unknown, self-published black and white comic is you pretty much have to give that away early on. But it's one of those things where word of mouth spreads and people kind of like things, and it kicks up a storm. I specifically remember sitting around in a convention listening to Kevin Eastman tell a story about how they just published the first issue, and they had like 3,800 copies made, and they had just stacks of them in their apartment. They were living together, and they were like, we're not going to be able to sell these. So they started like tearing them apart and like decoupaging their furniture with it. So they had like a coffee table that was nothing but like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 1, pieces just thrown about. And he's like,
wow.
He's like, that's 100%, my kid's college that just we destroyed. But he's like, it's one of those things you didn't know at the time. You just, it made sense. He's like, we totally threw some in the fire because it was, cold and freezing.
Does that coffee table still exist?
I'm sure it's probably in a landfill somewhere in New Jersey. But Robert Lee also brings up a good point. A lot of people don't understand or maybe make the connection, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a spoof on Daredevil. So the Daredevil, the master, so to speak, the teacher, his name was Splinter. And then the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, their arch enemies was the Foot Clan. The arch enemy of Daredevil is the Hand Ninja Clan. So that's where the Foot Clan came. It was a spoof on the Hand. So there's a lot of there's a lot of purposeful spoofs because Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, they're huge comic guys themselves. They took a lot of inspiration from the Frank Miller Daredevil issues that he was writing at the time. So there's a ton of purposeful influences in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series specifically that are, tips of the cap to the Frank Miller run of that not recent, but those 80s issues Daredevils. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. But like you said, most people, for whatever reason, truth be told, the Saturday morning cartoon, that's what really got people on board with stuff. The toys, obviously that kickstarted its own thing, but the Saturday morning cartoons that we'll take a little gander at, this is where things really started kicking off. So the cartoon itself ran for 10 seasons, 193 episodes from 1988 to 1996. I don't know about you guys, but it was ritualistic for me Saturday morning to like get up at the crack of dawn, piss my parents off, turn the TV up and just watch Ninja Turtles and all the other Saturday morning cartoons. And then they made so many episodes that it quickly went into syndication where you could watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles literally every day after school or before school because there were just so many episodes.
Yeah, I feel like I remember watching it mostly like after school and like just when I'd see it would come on. I believe it was on Nickelodeon most often, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So Nickelodeon actually bought the Ninja Turtles franchise back in 2009. So it's owns basically.
Was it on before 2009 on Nickelodeon though?
I mean, yeah, because there was a different, like a revamped reiteration of it where they, changed the art styles and obviously new creative directors and voices and the characters. I want to say 2002 or 2003, but
yeah, well,
Nickelodeon officially purchased Ninja Turtles as an entire franchise and owns everything about it. Playmates owns the toy rights, but Ninja Turtles is owned specifically for broadcast and video games by Viacom/Nickelodeon.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't. So that's definitely. I mean, the 19 was it 87 or 88 when those ones came out.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely the ones I watched growing up. I don't know what channel I watched them on. I was just guessing. It might have been Nickelodeon, but yeah,
they were the best ones.
Yes, and sorry, go ahead, Doug.
I was just going to say, Devil Waldo made me think of something. So he says, I remember buying those VHS tapes from Burger King, which is funny because one of the things I dug out was my first degree Leonardo ninja belt buckle thing.
That is
which was a Burger King like kids meal prize toy type of thing, but looking back at this as an adult, I'm like, okay, so I guess I was supposed to wear this like as a belt buckle, but then like I guess I'm supposed to like secretly go, oh yeah, and like pull this down at the front of my pants, which is like just asking for trouble.
That is hilarious. Oh man, that's actually fantastic. It makes me think of Wayne's World when he's like, a gun rack. What am I supposed to do with a gun rack? Either way, that's sweet. I totally forgot about those.
So Tilting T wants to know, do any of us watch the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series? I couldn't get into the newer ones. So I've watched every incarnation of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoons. Can't say I've watched every episode, but I've watched enough to get the gist of it. The newer stuff is just not for me, and it's 100% not geared towards me. So, I'm not going to fault the creators of that. It's clearly aimed at a different generation. I still heavily love the old 80s/90s Fred Wolf original ones that we're looking at right there. To me, that's just, that was my childhood. The new one's good for the newer kids. It's still entertaining, still has the overall characters and themes going on, but for me, OG or nothing.
Yeah, I don't remember watching any of the ones since the original show and movies. I haven't seen any of the newer movies since the original 3, if you want to count the third one. But no, even today, like, I mean, we knew we were going to be talking about this, and I was like, it's just been so long. Let's watch some Ninja Turtles today. And I was looking for the original one, the 1987 one and on, and like, then I saw one on Paramount Plus that was, I think, made in 2002, and I was like, okay, that's still a while back. I bet it's good. And I turn it on, and it didn't start off with Teenage Mutant. I mean, I got about
doesn't have that iconic intro.
It was like, okay, well, that's not the right one. And I turned it off. I was like.
This one's broken.
If it's gonna start with the song, then
yeah. There's a bunch of, and we'll like, there's a lot of cartoons I can think about that I was watching before Ninja Turtles ever came on TV. But I remember it's really the first cartoon though that I remember just kind of hooked me for years, if that makes sense. It wasn't like a 1-year stage or a 6-month stage. It was like a very, obviously till now. So it just really hooked me. But the thing is too, and I'm curious what you think of this as well, Doug, and even the audience, where I feel like the newer iterations of the cartoon, they made the characters too extreme. Like Mike's a party guy, they made him like too extreme party guy. Then Donatello's a smart guy, they made him too nerdy. Leonardo's a leader, they made him too much of a
square.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, they turned everything up to 11, which is unnecessary, because it's not. I don't think the younger generation weren't going to be able to, disseminate the morality or the character traits of each one of these turtles. So I didn't think it was necessary, and like you said, I think it's a little over the top.
Yep.
But yeah, this is, like you said, this is one of those things that stuck with me for a long time. Yeah, like there was tons of Saturday, like everything had a Saturday morning cartoon in the 80s and 90s. It didn't really matter if you were, a cereal brand or whatever. For whatever reason, you got your own Saturday morning cartoon. But the Ninja Turtles, that was one of those ones that I watched for years, and there was seasons and season finales and cliffhangers, and there was actual progression. Like I bought heavy into all the DVDs and the VHS copies that were seeing advertisements there. I remember going to Pizza Hut and ordering those. I was all about it. Now you can go to Walmart and you can buy literally the entire series on DVD for $20, which is a steal. And for the most part, the cartoon does hold up relatively well. Clearly, it's garnered towards that 8 to 12 demographic. So if you're not in that age group, you're probably going to roll your eyes a little bit about some of the jokes. But overall, for as many episodes as they made, I mean, it's a pretty fun, hokey watch for sure. I enjoy it still.
So good.
So, not only did we have a Saturday morning cartoon, but to go with your Saturday morning cartoon, obviously you got to have some sustenance. You got to have some snackage, right?
You do.
Because you just woke up, you're hungry, but you also don't want to get up. You made your stand at the couch, and you're like, okay, I'm going to be here for a while, or sitting on your butt, 3 inches away from the television screen.
That's how I did it.
That's the way it should be. So there was a lot of options in the 80s and 90s for turtle aficionados, for a more refined palate, if you will. One of them was the cereal, of course. It just goes hand in hand.
You mean Chex Marshmallows?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. I do remember it was so good though.
Yeah, Chex with marshmallows. I mean, they didn't go too crazy with the recipe. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And I can't even remember who made it. Kellogg's, General Mills, or who it was, but it didn't matter.
No, it didn't.
And then, of course, you need some more treats, because there wasn't enough sugar in your cereal. You needed some Ninja Turtles cookies.
There are places where imagination is an outlaw.
What a great commercial.
Where freedom.
I know, right? Like you think you're watching Pink Floyd's The Wall.
I know.
And there are those who fight back.
This is great.
It is.
Look at them busting onto the scene with that vibrant color. Boom! Look at everybody.
What? What is this, Pleasantville?
It's by Delicious
Delicious.
Brand.
I know.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with Delicious Brand. I'm sure they had a very long, successful career.
That's
and of course,
hilarious.
you can't think Turtles without pizza. So of course they had a pizza snack and some creepy clay animation style that makes you think of Clay Fighter Nintendo 64.
Who's had these? Please put that in the comments. I'd love to know.
If anybody's had these,
Wait,
please
is
let
this
us
the one
know.
that was like gummies and you put the toppings on top?
No, they're like crunchy.
No.
Okay, no, I didn't have these. Okay.
He will take on any ninja that takes on his crunchy food.
Yeah.
And Crunchabunga. I mean, if that doesn't just like roll off the tongue, I don't know what
Man,
does.
I love the
I
marketing
did
behind all
not.
this.
Yeah.
I did not have those, but now I want some.
I can honestly say I never had those myself. Another one that was popular was Chef Boyardee, mainly because at the time you could get a Chef Boyardee mail away and you could get a specific color variation of the Super Shredder action figure, which today goes for loads and loads of money. But I definitely remember that. But another one that I remember with fond heart, the turtle pies. Like you haven't lived.
Sorry, I'm just reading the comment you pulled up there. I love Teenage Mutant.
You haven't lived until you had a turtle pie, and unfortunately, every time there's like a new Turtles movie or television show or incarnation, I keep crossing my finger and holding out on bated breath that there will be a reissue of these turtle pies. They were the most hideous looking things ever.
Yep.
So basically, they were like a cream-filled donut that was deep fried and then covered with green icing, and it also came with a trading card because it was the 90s and everything had trading cards, of course. They were not good for you whatsoever.
No, they were not.
It was sugar covered in sugar, fried in sugar, and
I mean,
layered with sugar.
They went all out on the sugar.
It was something that, it sounds like it came from everybody's local state fair for sure. It immediately gave you diabetes just by the time you opened the package before it even, hit your tongue.
The green was actually a genius idea because if they didn't have it, you'd just be like, whatever. But that just really sells it. You're like, all right, this is Turtles.
Yeah,
it was genius.
But
I don't remember those.
One of these days, fingers crossed, they'll bring it back. And like Johnny said right here, the 80s tasted like green turtle pies, high C ecto cooler. There's a lot of great tie-ins for merchandise and video games and all sorts of stuff like that. Toys, obviously, huge selling point. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing turtle toys. I say that and I can't even find the clip here because we got so many clips. Here we go. That's cartoon, cereal, cookies, pizza, snack, movie. You know what? I'll pull it in on the fly. You guys just go ahead and talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, don't forget about those fruit snacks, people. Who remember
there was
Ninja Turtles fruit snacks? Do you remember having any of this stuff?
I
had pizza for the first time because of Ninja Turtles. That's not true.
No, I was going to say, I don't think I had pizza for the first time because of Ninja Turtles. But
can you watch Ninja Turtles without having pizza?
Okay, man,
That's pretty hard
I'm trying to think back. Were the Ninja Turtles fruit snacks, were they the ones that weren't see-through? You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, you're talking about the old school, like the ones that were not healthy. Nothing was healthy then.
No, I'm not saying it.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a ton of commercials here because let's face it, there was an absolute metric crap ton of Ninja Turtles toys produced. So they're still produced. It's still actively out there in the toy aisles, whether it be the reissues that Playmate's been doing over the years or the turtle toys that coincide with the current Nickelodeon renditions and the Netflix television or the movie that's getting ready to come out in I think like 3 days. But I vividly remember getting a Ninja Turtle action figure basically on a weekly basis growing up. Not because I was spoiled or anything, but because parents put me on a $5 a week allowance. Had to do chores, had a little like checklist on the refrigerator, had to do X amount of things. Otherwise, you didn't get your $5. But once I got my $5, it was $3.97 for an action figure at Toys R Us. I could get a pack of like baseball cards for around 50 cents, and cheaper. It was like 8 cards and a hard stick of gum. I got that, and I always had enough change left over for a one-night rental of a video game. So I'd always go and get an NES game, and that's how I spent my $5 allowance for months on end. So I amassed quite the colorful collection of Ninja Turtle action figures and accessories once I learned to save that $5 allowance and start buying things like the vehicles and stuff like that. But what do you guys remember the most about the toys and the cartoons?
Dude, first off, I want to talk about the packaging of the toys, because I just, at the time, I just remember that really stuck out, because I was huge on Silverhawks, if anyone remembers that show. There was this show Cops that I thought those were like the coolest toys back in the time, just because of the flexibility of those toys. You could do all these cool kicks. But I spent that actual packaging of Turtles just really stuck out on shelves. You flip it around, and of course, first thing you do, you get that figure, you look on the back, and you're like, all right, now which ones do I need on this list? And
exactly, you had the checklist, so to speak.
Yes.
So originally you had like your 8-back and your 10-back and stuff, but this Turtles franchise just exploded, and supposedly the story and the legend has it was there was basically a bounty out there for artists that were working in the toy lines, that if you created a character and it got made into an actual retail product and sold, you would get a certain percentage royalties of that. So people that were working obviously just went bonkers creating anything and everything they could. Some of these characters didn't even exist in the cartoon yet. So some of them went into the cartoon after their success as a toy, but my God, they made anything and everything you could possibly think of. It starts off just kind of, hey, here's your basic Turtles. They were fun to play with.
I remember having to break off those.
Yes, the weapons wraps.
Things.
So the worst was always like the fact that, yeah, they were cool and everything, but like trying to get these guys to like stand up. Go focus.
Oh no, they still don't.
Yeah, like that back foot there, like he's got, a torn Achilles tendon or whatever. So always struggled trying to get my Turtles to stand up, and then it was always weird for me because like I had He-Man and Turtles that were always like super roided out, and then I would go to my other toys that were like just slender, like my Marvel's, guys that were just like my little Kenner Star Wars action figures. None of them really matched up to He-Man and Turtles because they had muscles.
Yeah, dude, they just did such an amazing job with that toy line. That was once again, you went to town on these things. You just had to keep. It's Pokemon.
Keep going and going.
There was,
I was about to say there was something new each and every week or month. It's like, oh, okay, you've got all 4 Turtles. You think you do, but wait, here we got storage shell version. And it's like, oh, that's not good enough. We got to have motorized 360-degree action. Oh wait, that's not enough either. Okay, we got to start mix and mashing them with different characters. What about Star Trek Turtles?
Yeah,
I mean, they just went
I did not have
over
Star
the
Trek
top
Turtles.
with this stuff. You didn't have Star Trek Turtles?
I didn't have the Star Trek Turtles. That's one I definitely didn't have. I missed
Never
out.
too late, Jordan.
I missed
Mace
out.
says if you're a kid on the block with multiple Foot Clan soldiers, you were a king. That's right. That was like, before people started really army building things. Like you just had one of everything. You didn't have multiples because that just blew your mind as a kid. Like, who buys multiple of the same action figure? But and then he also says his wrestling figures were really roided out. Yeah.
So it's actually pretty realistic.
Yeah, I mean, it went too far. And of course, towards the end of the line, it really started getting crazy. I mean, you got your Universal Monsters Turtles, you got your Transforming Turtles, you got Dinosaur Turtles, you got Shogun Warrior Turtles, you got a freaking giraffe that plays basketball, you got Mecha Turtles, they got Mona Lisa Turtle, which is a sorcerer, and of course,
I don't remember this. Okay,
wouldn't have been the 90s if you didn't have some trolls out there. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So, Third Floor Jason says Casey Jones was always his favorite with that bright green,
one of the best
golf bag.
I mean, people think people think there's more trolls now because of the internet, but no, I think the 90s,
No.
The
That was
90s had
peak-
more trolls.
Yeah, peak trolls. Then let's see if we can check out
why that was a
another
thing.
classic commercial.
Get out of the way, bad dudes! It's the Turtles Party Wagon. The wacky attack band means good times for the green guys and hard knocks for the foot.
Yeah,
Especially
see,
with
there
the
you go.
tenderizer.
Having multiple Foot Clans.
And it's a big
You really
hit
look like the
everywhere we
superstar.
go. And
Yeah.
look, here comes the Turtle Cycle with its working handlebar slingshot and armored
You forgot about the
sidecar.
Turtle Cycle, didn't you?
Shredder crazy. Yeah, let's
Slingshot across the front
What
bars.
was the rabbit's name?
Usagi
Okay.
Yojimbo?
Huh?
You talking about Usagi?
Yep.
Yeah,
Usagi.
okay.
Yojimbo, yeah.
No, I had I remember that. I remember having I remember having him.
He's a cool character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I might
He
have
was-
had that. I might have had that motorcycle with him as well. Like
I definitely also had like the big skateboard that had like the fan
Yep.
on the back that had the foot that kicked out. It was called Cheapskate. Had to
Love
have
it.
that one for sure. And then
The-
let's see.
That van, dude. So
Oh, that van, one of the most iconic toys ever made.
But thanks to the Turtles periscope,
Also one of the most iconic playsets ever made,
They're attacking with their sewer balls.
The sewer?
Watch out, or you'll wind up in the recovery
which
room.
connected
Oh,
to
no,
the
back over
Technodrome.
the news. The Shredder's up to his old trick. And speaking of going up, the
I love
Turtles
this
are taking the
commercial.
elevator to street level
So
to make a call
Slime's
on
coming
Shredder
down
using
like
their
so
private
slowly,
line.
and Mike's
Reach
just gonna
out
sit
and
there.
crush someone.
He's just waiting for it.
I know.
He knows it's coming, but he's like, I can take it. I can withstand the punishment.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go on to the next clip. I already know where we're going with this, and then I'll talk about where I'm going. with
Oh,
it.
I'm gonna throw
Yeah.
a curveball.
Yeah.
News for April O'Neil.
Look at this. The Ace reporter don't have a trunk.
I love the kid making the voice. It's like he's talking out the side of his mouth.
Yeah.
Dur, 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 dur.
Dude, dropping those bombs with the blimp was so,
so
fun, but
satisfying.
wow, was that a task?
There's Cheapskate. There we go.
Yep.
It was a pizza pie.
We gotta track this kid down.
Little did you know that kid's now doing voiceovers for Hollywood movie trailers.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
you gotta start
and-
somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he went on to bigger and better things, I'm sure. And of course, the piece de resistance, the final granddaddy.
The Turtles are assaulting the Technodrome. Inside are the Foot Clan's weapon storage chamber, Krang's laboratory, and Shredder's master control room. Huh? Turtles? Oh, they've been spotted. Now they'll have to watch out for the
Turtles?
I Spy radar.
That was your baseball.
Yeah, this is with the wall.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, no.
That was
An
the
ooze
eyeball.
scanner, a brain
It's
scrambler,
perfectly
and
baseball
mutant
sized.
manacles. Can Leonardo rescue them? Sure hope so.
Playset, figures, and ooze, each sold separately from Playmates.
Yep, and as Jay Heath mentioned, the commercial mentioned, you could buy your own little canister of ooze. There was like a little playset they had. It was like a little mini sewer type of thing. It had a little bucket handle, and you could dump ooze on it. I forget exactly what it was called, but I mean, they made an ungodly amount of action figures. They made an ungodly amount of accessories and things like that. I mean, this toy line went as long as the television series and then some. So it had, lots and lots of toys, but like you said, the packaging, the colors, I mean, shell top 4x4 freaking monster truck, for crying out loud.
Did you think about doing that troll for your Halloween costume?
Oh, 100%.
That's so crazy.
I mean, my hair was
yeah.
halfway there already. I just needed some hair spray and hair
Yeah.
color, and I'd have been there.
I stand by this though. I think their actual play sets, the ones that stick out to me over the years, Turtles, Ghostbusters, and then Masters of the Universe. I feel like their play sets were just
you got Castle
so-
Grayskull and Eternia, and I mean, there's just all this like next level, like, hey, we really upped the ante, so to speak. Yeah, Turtle Copter, you guys remember that with the boxing gloves on the front?
Yes.
And they really started making like super obscure ones too, because they were just like, hey, let's just
Why
throw
not?
something out there, sewer sub. And they had like sewer tubing, a little inner tube type of thing. And then like the bad guys started getting their own weapons. And there was like, the Needler and a tank and hot rods and, Shredder's Cadillac. But just the sewer play set, the Technodrome, it's just kind of, it's hard to really beat those.
Dude, my Shredder's Cadillac thing is not in good shape. It's pretty beat up. Okay, but am I not mistaken? Didn't we have to put the stickers on these ourselves?
Yes.
Yes, and that
Absolute
was awful.
nightmare.
Oh,
Yeah.
I actually,
Golly, that was
I
terrible.
was not allowed to.
Yeah, well, good.
What?
I wish I wasn't allowed to. It was not-
Like whether it was Christmas or my birthday, anytime I got a new toy, Turtles toy or anything, it was I'd open it and my dad would take it and be like, "Nope, you let me do that. You're gonna put them on crooked and it's gonna look stupid forever."
He made a good call because mine,
Yeah,
mine
I
was
mean, thanks,
terrible on
Dad.
some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was not allowed to put the stickers on there. My dad was
Smart move. Dad.
adamant that he did it because I was like, "You're gonna put them on all wrong."
It was awful.
And then
There's
you're gonna
so
be
many
mad
of
because
them.
they're not on right.
I'm pretty sure the sewer one I just skipped it. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're
I
not
mean,
on there
they
anymore.
are, and there wasn't just like a few, like specifically. Let me pull out the Technodrome for example here. So as my turtles all fall down, so like you'll notice these little yellow squares right here.
Yep.
You had to put stickers on each one of those, and of course all the insides and everything, and it was a freaking nightmare. Like you got a Bible of stickers. It was like 300 pages.
What verse was that sticker on?
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
what am I doing here? But I mean,
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
we also, I mean, we just don't get toys like that anymore. You get your standard, action figure. You might get a vehicle that's small scale, but we don't get play sets like we used to. You're never going to see a USS Flag or a Technodrome or anything like that. I mean, NECA and Super 7 both came out in the last year said, hey, we're going to do a party wagon. NECA was asking almost $300. Super 7 wanted $500. I mean, that just shows you that obviously they're not like a one-to-one reproduction. They're making their own kind of bigger scale and everything, but it just shows you like how far things have come, because some of these play sets were at max $60, $80, which is still very expensive back then, but it's adjusted for inflation, nowhere near $500. So
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize Super 7s was even that much, but
Mhm.
yeah, all the sets that are like these now are just new versions. I
Yep.
mean, honestly, yeah.
Just same old, just rehashing the stuff. But the colors on these classics, man, it's hard. Like,
Oh yeah, that's
what do you
such a
know
good-
about?
Yep, I got that one.
And it's it's 100% unnecessary. Like,
I know.
we didn't need Michelangelo on a surfboard with flippers and the entire gear and shark
like-
elbow pads and everything. But we
It's
got
like the 90s version of YouTube thumbnails. Make everything
Yeah.
as contrasty and colorful as possible.
yeah, make it pop, make it over the top, and
Make sure it's brighter than the thumbnail above you. And back then it was make sure it's more colorful and brighter than the toy next to it.
yeah, and it's also like, hey, let's go ahead and ignore human anatomy, like Shredder here. Like, there's no way to straighten his legs. He's permanently like posed like he's got scoliosis of the spine.
I know. Yeah,
You can't
that arm.
You can't put him anywhere. Like, everything about him was terrible. And like the eyebrows. Look at that. He looks like Eugene Levy.
He does, doesn't he? Dude, it's funny that you're showing these because I'm like, it's just bringing back memories of how I played with them. Like, literally.
Oh, 100%.
I know
Yeah.
your Splinter was like, hey. And then
You're
you
like-
just turn the hand like, oh,
You got awesome colors
Man,
popping.
one of
And
the
of course,
best
you got,
figures. Yep,
Mondo
both those.
Gecko, who I just totally dropped his skateboard on accident. Then you got super silly, again,
Mm-hmm.
who would have thought you needed a Stingray with flippers because he's
Oh, you
a
do.
Stingray.
I did not have that one for sure.
Yeah.
That one I do not remember him.
And speaking of poor posture, let's round it out with good old Leatherhead.
Oh, yeah.
They give him a shotgun, but they can't give him an upright stance to save his life. But I mean, his jaw moved. But
that's great.
love the classic toys. Like I said, really didn't get a whole lot better than the classic toys.
Do you remember Mondo Gecko's little skate on his tail?
Yeah.
Look, just the details on that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like we'll give him a skateboard, but his tail's long, so we'll throw a freaking roller
freaking-
skate on his tail.
Yep.
It's so awesome.
Okay.
Incredible.
Because like the guy didn't have enough balance on his own.
Yeah.
But
Nope.
of course,
Saves.
cartoon wasn't enough. There was also a live action series. We'll mention this briefly just because it's pretty atrocious. But this was the next mutation. This continued after the third movie. The character designs were very different, to say the least. And
Wait, was this a TV show?
yeah, this was a TV show that was on Fox. The Ninja Turtles actually crossed paths with the Power Rangers at one point as well. That's where they also introduced the 5th turtle, Venus de Milo, the female turtle. And her live action suit was the thing of nightmares. So,
dude, I vaguely remember this. I almost want to. I don't even remember what she looks like.
I
gotta see that.
She is, right there. Whoop.
So they went with blue. Oh, just the light. Okay,
she's got light blue, and of course she breastplate, chest.
Yep.
It's super awkward, but you could not mention that it exists. Now, if you want to go down that YouTube rabbit hole and learn some about it, go for it. But
watch that tonight.
There you go.
Yeah, live action.
You got your night planned right there.
Yeah, give yourself some nightmares before bed. But obviously, cartoon, highly successful, comic successful, toy successful. Hollywood comes knocking on the door and says, hey, we want to make a movie, right? So, I mean, that makes sense. They make a movie, and it did really, really well. I don't know about you guys, but this is something I literally was one of my first childhood movie experiences, like in the theater. I was living in Houston, Texas at the time when I was born and raised, and they were doing this nationwide mall tour to promote this movie when it came out. So they brought some people, dressed them up in Ninja Turtle costumes, big foam things like you would expect to see at like a Nickelodeon party. And you got to meet the Ninja Turtles and see the movie. And me and my dad waited in line for hours at the Houston Mall to see this movie and meet the Ninja Turtles. I got a theatrical movie poster, and I got it autographed by all the Ninja Turtles, and it wasn't until I was older that I realized that whoever was wearing the Michelangelo suit spelled his name wrong. So my entire childhood, I had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie poster that was autographed by everybody, and Michelangelo's name was spelled wrong.
That's so awesome, though. That old
yeah.
I like that.
He spelled it like traditional Michael, and it had the extra A in there that doesn't necessarily belong, and threw that in there. And one day, as a teen, I was looking at it, and I was like, that's not right at all. But then I was like, I was also impressed with the man's penmanship because he was wearing this like foam mitt, and he was able to still write out Michelangelo. So
that's impressive.
I cut him some slack.
Can we talk about, though, how well done this movie was?
It was fantastic.
And it's funny, at the time, if you guys really think about it, it was kind of dark. I mean,
it was extremely dark.
So it's weird at the time. It kind of threw me off as a kid. Still loved it, but I'm so happy they did that because now as an adult, I probably enjoy it even more now than I would have if it would have went the other way. It's just really good. It still holds up incredibly well.
I mean, it was one of those things. It's like I have fond memories of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's just a long title. We're gonna say it every time.
TMNT,
yeah. But just because my cousin and I are like 3 weeks apart and have been best friends growing up. We would always go to my grandpa's house, and he had a big in the 90s. It wasn't like, I feel like almost everyone at least has
30 inch.
Oh no, there was like one person you knew that had a big screen TV.
Yeah,
and so back then, like a big screen TV was 42 inches.
Yeah,
they weren't even 50 yet.
He didn't have a big house, didn't have a nice house, but he had a big screen TV and a sound system, and I always loved that about Grandpa's house. So we'd go over there, and Ninja Turtles was one of the things that we just. I mean, if it wasn't Ninja Turtles, it was Star Wars or Goonies. Like one of those three got watched usually almost all three. And we tried to go over there every chance we could.
Yeah.
And we watched it all the time.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. Luis has a good, comment right here. He says, back in the day, movies didn't show in every theater at the same time, just major movies. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a tour. Like I was talking to you guys before we started the broadcast, this was the highest grossing independent movie of all time for a long, long time because it was a small budget to do self-financed type of movie. It wasn't major studios behind it. It wasn't, it was like Dimension Films, which at the time really did like B movies and horror movies and stuff like that. But until Blair Witch Project came along, it was the highest grossing independent movie of all time. Like you said, it was very dark. There was a lot of angry parents that, were already exposed to the Saturday morning cartoon and thought this was going to be some, happy-go-lucky, parents weren't exposed to trailers. We didn't get this stuff, spoon-fed to us every single time you turn on the television. So you really, a lot of times, just went into these things kind of dark, and they literally went into a theater and got a dark movie for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my dad was a little thrown off at the time when he took us because he'd watch the cartoon with us, and then he was just like, "Oh, okay, well." But yeah, like I said, still holds up, feeling well.
May says, I remember my parents thought it would be too scary, so they took me to see Ernest Goes to Jail.
That's
instead.
unfortunate.
Because jail's not scary at all. Hey, at least they didn't take you to see Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yeah. I mean, hey, first of all, don't knock Ernest, all right?
No.
He saved Christmas. He saved Christmas. Don't you forget
Christmas.
that. Yeah.
He did.
Yeah. But, of course, the first movie did exceptionally well, so naturally, second one was coming. This time they, heard the complaints of the parents and they said, all right, we'll brighten it up a little bit. It's still going to have some grit to it. But we're going to make it a little more kid-friendly.
Donatello.
So you'll see the costumes a little more expressive, a little more happy with their demeanor.
Hey, Mike, you think you could punch any louder? I can still hear out of this one.
Unfortunately, he's not, Garage Gamer.
And I thought all the really good dungeons were in Europe.
Where are you guys?
I just like to say hello. Would you give me that one? No, come on, give me back. Shredder.
The past returns, my son.
That's the canister that had the ooze.
That transformed us all.
Well, you're the last one, aren't you?
He's got the canister. Get it! Wow! Get him! Hey, Mike.
Music.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got a Vanilla Ice dedicated song. There we go.
There it
Cameo by Vanilla Ice himself, which at the time was one of the biggest superstars in the world.
It's one for all.
You take the ugly one. No, you take the ugly one.
Kevin Nash, wrestling superstar. Kevin Nash was Super Shredder.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
And the whole story behind that was he was approached at a wrestling event. The person they originally cast as Super Shredder was unavailable at the time because he had unfortunately passed away and they'd already made the suit. So they were desperate for somebody that was going to be along the same size as his measurements. So they saw him at a wrestling event, kind of looked him up and down and said, okay, I think this guy's going to work. I think he's going to be the scale. And they said, hey, you want to be in a movie? And he's like, sure. And he said he actually made more money on that than his first 2 years of pro wrestling.
Wow. That's awesome. So first off, I do remember a couple things about the second one. At first, as a kid, I remember liking the second one better than the first one, not as an adult. Now I like the first one better. But is anyone else disappointed that at the time it wasn't Bebop and Rocksteady? That they
100%. And
like
that is actually who, Toka and Razor is what you're referring to. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, I remember the teaser stuff. If anyone remembers at the movie theater, they had a teaser where Toka and Razor were shadowed out. They're like blacked out. So you're just like, oh my gosh, maybe that's them. I hope they're in this movie. Then when they weren't, you're like, okay. Now it's like, whatever. It's cool because they're kind of iconic. But I meant at the time, though,
it was this story. It's funny you mention that because that was actually who those characters were supposed to be. Eastman, Peter Laird wanted it to be Bebop and Rocksteady, and the studio said, no, we want some original characters that people haven't seen. We think those characters wouldn't translate well on screen. They thought, for whatever reason, a rhinoceros and a boar were preposterous, so they got a wolf and a snapping turtle. So
yeah,
that's what happens when you sign away the rights and, you make those deals with the devil. You lose creative controls and things like that. So we never got that live action Bebop and Rocksteady that we so deserve. Maybe with the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot that supposedly Seth Rogen's working on it, we'll get it. But, like you said, as a kid, I loved number 2 more than number 1. As an adult, I love number 1 more. Number 2 was so much more comical, on purpose, had a lot of interesting, tie-ins, new characters. We did get a new April O'Neil, so Judith Hogue wasn't around the second time. So some characters were replaced, voice actors, things like that. But we did get some
missing Corey, from the Goonies as Donatello. Yeah,
Corey Feldman. And R.I.P. David Warner. He was the professor there that creates the mutagen ooze. He was like a pseudo Baxter Stockman, replacement in the movie. Toka and Razor were okay. Good point. I enjoyed them. I thought they were hilarious as a kid, but I still would have preferred Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, just such a missed opportunity. Like I said, looking back, it's like it's cool. I still love the movie. I mean, at the time, even as a kid, though, I was pretty disappointed. But like, that's what's funny. I loved the movie. I just meant, but man, if they would have had that, I bet at the time as a kid, I would have loved that even more by quite a bit. So.
And keeping up with the recipe of changing things, they tried one more time with a third movie, and they changed pretty much everything you could possibly think about. They changed the costumes even more, made them even more kid-friendly, and basically they just dialed up the cheesiness to 11, no pun intended with the pizza reference there, to get your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 Turtles in Time / crossover, tie-in, whatever you want to call it.
With their only hope.
There are some great lines from this trailer. Actually made me laugh out loud grabbing this.
Darkest hour. Four brave fighters from another time.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
I can't wait.
Another species.
You were expecting maybe the Addams Family?
They're back.
There you go.
They're back in time.
Wait for this line. Can't wait.
Oh, they've come back for me.
Talk about your quantum leap.
My cannons can destroy these monsters, my lord.
Uh-oh, this doesn't bode well. I love this stuff.
How are we gonna get home?
Somebody dial 911.
I have a feeling we're gonna be here for a very long time.
Listen to this.
This is the worst rescue I've ever had.
I think I swallowed a frog. I hope it wasn't an ancestor.
New line cinema presents.
Oh,
stupid.
I hope it wasn't an ancestor. Oh.
Down in history.
It's just your ordinary time travel equal mass displacement kind of thing.
This is weird that the trailer makes me want think I'll like it more than I think I will.
Okay, I feel like I have to have watched this because I love Ninja Turtles growing up, but
you don't have any memories of that one?
No.
Yeah.
You want to watch it?
No, I would definitely do. Absolutely want to watch that right now.
So that one definitely did not do so hot. Very limited success in the theater, and I say success. I think it basically kind of broke even. Did some VHS sales, but overall it was pretty much panned across the board. And Turtles as themselves were kind of on the way out. You know, the show had been running for almost 10 years at that point. People have kind of grown up and moved on to bigger, better things or what have you. But we got a super chat here from Matt Jansen. This is $5. Character saying, "You rock," whilst showing their pumped bicep. You know, it's just great classic comedy like that. Third one came out when Turtle Mania had already died. Kids moved on to Street Fighter, X-Men, Mortal Kombat, Power Rangers hadn't taken over yet. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just, you know, the kids that originally started with the franchise had grown up into the teenage and moved on to something a little more edgier, whereas they kept making the movies more and more, you know, garnered towards a younger audience. That audience was already growing past. So it was just going the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So if the movies would have been done in reverse order,
I'd say the same thing. Yeah.
would have been, you know, probably a little bit better, but in reality, I don't care. I still enjoy them all. But like I said, after that third one, you thought you were done with live action, but no, you had this terrible TV series that came out there. But that was pretty much it. And then they started doing the animated television / you know, movie releases. So there was the TMT animated theatrical release. It was kind of like a reboot for the franchise. And then, like I said, Netflix is going to have a new Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie coming out in a few days. But that was pretty much it. The newest thing is waiting on Seth Rogen. Supposedly he's got the rights to do a reboot on it. Michael Bay did his live action.
The best
live action Turtles, which were CGI Turtles with live action backgrounds. And I don't think we need to really say anything else about those.
Was it that hard to just, I mean, people just go, I mean, honestly, hey, at least he had Bebop and Rocksteady in the second one.
He did, and they were actually, you know,
pretty good. Those characters, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, fun fact, Corey Feldman came back for that third movie to voice Donatello. I think there was like some money issues is why he was held out of the second one. You know, he asked for bigger money because his star was kind of rising. So he's like, hey, pay me more. And studios don't typically respond well to those type of, threats, so to speak. But of course, movies, of course, television shows, snacks, toys, we got everything, right? No, there was video games too. Lots and lots of video games.
Oh, there
Some
were, yeah.
Yeah, some really good ones. So the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade still holds up, as one of the better video games to this day. I still play it relatively regularly. Obviously, it doesn't have a whole lot of replayability if you're playing it by yourself and you have infinite continues and stuff like this. But in 1989, when this came out, this was like the closest thing you could get to like being in a cartoon. Like the animation, the aesthetics, and everything. Like you felt like you were playing the cartoon. And since it came out,
played this.
Yeah, since it came out at the height of Turtle Mania, like the 1990 time frame, the TV show was hot. The toys were crazy. I mean, it was peak Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fandom. Every time I went to the arcade, there was a line for this.
Yep.
There's a 4-player arcade, but you had a line. I remember when Turtles in Time came to the arcade for the first time, they had like a velvet rope and everything. Had it roped off. And
that's awesome.
It was an experience to just be able to get there. And it was also one of the first arcade games I ever got to beat. I got dropped off by mom and dad one time at the arcade and walked up on a group of kids that had already been playing for quite a while on it. And somebody dropped out and ran out of quarters, and I got a fresh pocket of quarters, went in there and played Hero of the Day, and we beat the game. And it just blew my mind as a kid because for a long time, like, you just don't think of arcade games being finite. Something you endlessly pumped quarters in. You never really saw where it went.
Yep.
I remember, first off, a couple things. Like the place I played this the most was the skating rink. And it was just so funny because that was like the highlight. I'm just there, and I remember someone's like, "You want a couple of skate?" You're like, "Hold on, I gotta finish." And
no, woman, leave me alone.
Yeah.
I'll hold your hand later.
It was like mind blowing to me when this was released on the NES. Because I'm like, hold on a second, I could play the arcade, and like it just blew my mind for whatever
one of the best ports of any game. The graphics obviously were toned down a little bit, but the gameplay itself was phenomenal. And like when I mentioned earlier about always buying an action figure or some baseball cards or renting a video game at Blockbuster, when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the arcade game came out on the NES, it was in constant rotation to try to. Because I was like, all right, I can beat this. I don't have to put quarters in it. I only had to pay like a quarter to rent it for a night. So that home console experience was phenomenal. I loved it to death.
So cool.
Yeah. And then of course, this one's successful, so they got to do it again, right? They got to make another one.
And they did
just
great
like everything else. Yeah. They turned everything up.
Yeah.
Said, hey, how do we outdo ourselves? Well, we come back 2 years later with Turtles in Time. Like I said, not technically a tie-in with the movie that was coming around the same time, but same concept, time travel, fish out of water, turtle out of water story. Let's take them into some wacky experiences so we can also sell toys like Dinosaur Ninja Turtles. It makes sense because they're in the video game.
And
then, ow, my toes.
Yep.
My toes.
There we go.
You hear that way too often in that game.
Absolutely. But you got to do cool things like, throw the foot soldiers like at the screen, that 3D experience. So it was a very good game. Like I said, it outpaces the first one.
Yep.
As far as the abilities and the designs and the levels and things like that. And of course, they kept making them. We got one coming out very shortly, the Cowabunga collection. That is, an assimilation of all the great turtle games that should be near and dear to your heart, whether it be the NES, the arcade games, the Game Boy games, you name it. Yeah, easy peasy.
Yeah. And dude, it's great because they did this right from everything they've said. They put a lot of love and care into this. Slice of the action.
You can do some online multiplayer. Oh, the puns you will have. Always enjoyed Manhattan Project. I thought that was a great game.
Yeah, it is a great game. I actually just picked that up about 3 weeks ago.
save and rewind, all those, great features for things like the water level in the original NES game. You'll want to rewind because you'll die a lot. So we got that coming out at the end of the month, so looking forward to that.
It is crazy when you see that trailer and see how many good games there were, though, from Turtles.
Exactly. It just
That's
kept
a lot.
pumping out hits.
Yep.
And speaking of hits, we had Shredder's Revenge just came out not too long ago. I know you guys have checked it out.
Yeah.
I've played it several times.
It's a great game.
It's so good.
Fantastic love letter to the classic arcade beat 'em ups.
Dude, I'm so happy that they got Casey Jones in the game.
Yep, you got Casey Jones, you got April O'Neil, you got Splinter, you got Turtles. I mean, you got all sorts of great characters that you played. There's new mechanics that make it fresh. It's not the same, just rinse and repeat. It's a long game, so like you can play this for a couple hours as opposed to burning through it 30 minutes. So it gives you a little more replayability in that aspect.
Isn't it amazing how simple it is to just be like, hey, you could drive the party wagon on the map, and which is kind of just, there's no point of it really, but yet it just is so awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's like a callback to that,
yeah,
the original NES game, because like you had that like overworld map type of thing where you walked around.
Like as soon as I saw that, I was so happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so good. If you guys have not played this, you will enjoy it. I'm pretty confident on that.
Yep. And then last but not least is a game that is got the eye of Adam and myself for sure. It is the Stern pinball machine. So this is something that I've talked myself in and out of buying several times already. We'll see how long that lasts, because this will probably eventually be mine. Oh yes, it will be mine.
Can we agree this is one of the best looking ones that Stern made? Yeah.
The artwork by Zombie Yeti, Jeremy Packer, fantastic. You got cool things like the spinning pizza disc, the color, the vibrancy, the music.
Have you gotten a chance to play this one, Doug?
Oh yeah, I've played it numerous times. It is a difficult game.
Yeah,
it is.
That's one of the big criticisms and drawbacks people give it. Is it's a difficult game, number one.
Yeah, there's a pinball place around here that
a low scoring game. So like you're not going to put up 1 billion points because the way it's coded and everything, you're going to put up like 15 million as a good game, whereas one right next to it that looks identical would put up 1 billion. So you feel a little more inconsistent, because you're like, wait a minute, am I that bad at pinball, or is this game just different? The game's
we felt that right away.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we first played it? Because we went from Ghostbusters, that we did the Avengers, we did Godzilla. That's by far the hardest out of them, and you could tell right off the bat. It almost makes you think there's not more to it than there is, because you're not really, if that makes sense, you're not really getting into how much more there is to it because of the difficulty. But that's a cool thing for replayability. So.
I loved the pizza spinner, especially once you get multiple balls going and it's
just throws it out there, chaos.
It's great. But yeah, there's a place close to here that has just pinball, like tons of pinball machines, and they had that there. It was just like a couple of weeks ago we discovered it, and we're like, it was a pretty fun pinball machine. Like I really liked it.
Yeah, we talked to that guy too about I'll make this quick, but about doing some like shows there, like going in there and actually starting a tournament where he could bring people in, and we just kind of film the tournament and do some prizes and stuff, and find a way to get kind of viewers involved. But if that's something you guys think would be fun to see, let us know. But yeah, it's a really cool place.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like B in the chat said he just bought one recently in the last week, and he brought up a good point. It does have co-op, so you can do like competitive co-op in it, which is a fun feature.
That is cool.
Yeah,
spinning disc, the artwork is really what does it for me, because I mean it looks like the classic cartoon, just a little bit edgier and everything. But overall, I mean, that's probably going to be my next purchase. I don't know what I'll have to sell, kidneys or furniture, children, whatever, what have you. I'll find a way. But as a whole, I think we can all probably agree that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a huge part of our childhood. So we did the poll at the beginning of the. Let's go ahead and end it and see the final results here. I'm pretty sure I already know the results.
Is Mike in there?
He is in there. But it was pretty much split evenly all the way across the board. So
So really, Raph won because I rigged it for Leo.
I mean, Donatello eked it out percentage-wise, but overall, it was pretty even across the board. Had anybody really jumped out? Well, I take it back. No, it's a 50-50 split. So Leonardo and Raphael both got 26%. So that's a tie. Michelangelo and Donatello both got 23%. So that is a tie. So we got basically a 4-way tie. I thought that Donatello had a 28%, but the 3.
Can we just say though that's like a testament to these characters because honestly they're all very unique and it really is. There one that you don't like? I mean, I love all.
No, I love them all.
Point.
Yeah, they all have their charm. They all have their moment in the sun, and specifically, the reason why they come in and save the day, or they fill in the storyline perfectly. Like somebody's flaw is somebody else's strength. It's great. I always love the individual aspect of those turtles.
Yep. I just think we need to end with this today. Is Michael Bay still made the best Ninja Turtles movie, and I think we all agree on that. You can do a poll, but I'm sure we know the results.
Yeah, I was about to say you can do a poll. It only has a yes option. There's no no.
Yeah,
there's no disagreement. It doesn't get better than the Michael Bay.
And we should probably have him do another.
Yeah.
Let him write it, and the Wachowskis direct it.
Okay, there you go. Now you're getting crazy.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to put a fork in it. We went over our time, and honestly, we'll probably come back and revisit this subject again because, like I said, we're only scratching the surface. Turtles was such a huge thing, and like I said, we can make an entire episode just on the toys alone, the games alone, the movies
the
alone,
Michael Bay,
the Michael Bay atrocities alone. Yeah, I mean, you can do it all, but. Until next time, guys, we will do another episode of We Grew Up Better, and the topic will be announced shortly. But until then, gentlemen, do you guys have anything you want to share? Anything you want to plug?
Well, I was just gonna say, guys, if you have anything that you might suggestions you want to throw out there too, things we'd like to cover. I mean,
absolutely,
a lot,
let us know in the comments if you're watching this later on. Shoot us a comment down below. Let us know a topic you want us to cover, something from the 80s and 90s that you remember. Maybe we don't remember. Maybe we can do some research and we can all talk it out, hash it out, and go down that memory lane with you.
Exactly. No, but we appreciate you all. Thanks for joining. But yeah, we got a lot to keep going on about. But definitely throw your ideas out there because there's so many things too. It's like there's going to be things we forgot, and just throwing even suggestions out there will be like, oh yeah, and get us all excited. So,
and I keep forgetting that we're not actually on our channel right now. So for anyone who doesn't know who we are, I guess it's over on this side. Complete Geek TV. You can go and search that. We do a lot of video game retro. We kind of just cover whatever we feel like covering.
Yeah, video games in general.
But yeah, so feel free to check us out. We'd love to chat with you guys.
Awesome. We got Robert Lee said he just subbed to your Geek TV. So there you go. If you guys aren't familiar,
we appreciate it.
Please go give them a like, a follow, a subscribe, do all the things, push all the buttons, make all the noises because they deserve all your attention.
I will throw this out there. I've been debating doing some random giveaways on this show where we can do some trivia questions moving forward. Still a debate, but I think that might be fun just randomly to throw out there for trivia. So
I agree. I think next week we'll do some trivia and I'll give away your car keys and
there you go.
Whatever.
We might just find random stuff to give away.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've been holding on to a Nintendo Switch OLED for a giveaway.
I mean, this is broken. But we can get
not quite as good as the OLED. No, but for real, guys, if
you sell it so well.
Yeah. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to COOLTOY, Doug's channel. Be able to look at. We'll do some fun giveaways just to kind of have a blast with our past. So,
yeah, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure as always, and everybody in the chat, thank you for hanging out, talking turtles with us. Until next time, guys, take care.
See ya.